got the money for it. But with lots of unregulated so-called cowboy builders, the problem many have is knowing who to trust with such a job.
Well, now there's a new UK-wide ombudsman for just that, with the hope it'll make expensive mistakes a thing of the past. And Phil Lavelle is in Bristol this morning. We've had quite a few emails on this, Phil, so clearly a much more widespread problem than you might think.
Yeah, there appears to be lots of cowboy builders about, as you're pointing out. Now, this is not a cowboy builder's job. This is a perfect job. Look at this. This is what it looks like when it goes as it should do. But conservatories out there don't come cheap, you know. For the basic conservatory, you're looking at around £7,000, and then they can go up to the tens of thousands of pounds, depending on how extravagant you want to be. And even if you don't have a conservatory, chances are that you might have some double glazing. You know, it costs around £3,500 just to double glaze the average home. And if it goes wrong and you have to pay extra, it can be a very expensive mistake. All Sean Martin wanted was some new windows that would keep the rain out. But he got the opposite and says he's had a nightmare.
So if I take the newspaper out, you'll see what I've been left with. You can see all the way out. More than
£3,000, and 12 months later, he's still not got this sorted, leaving Sean both out of pocket and out of patience.
And we didn't expect this to happen, and for them to basically walk away and leave us with £1,000 worth of damage. It's the way in which they dealt with us, poor customer services, the way the job was done, and the fact that they misled us to believe that they provided us windows that we thought were from another company, and they weren't.
What Sean needed was an ombudsman. The prison services got one, the defence forces, the banks, even Gibraltar. And now, so do the glaziers.
Now you can get comprehensive protection through the Ombudsman scheme.
It's not Nick Ross personally. The former Watchdog presenter is just the public face of a scheme which assures customers it does have teeth.
The Double Glazing and Conservatory Ombudsman offers consumers an opportunity to choose high-quality, vetted companies should they need to complain to somebody. It will get investigated, and fair play will be seen to be done.
Conservatories and double glazing are big business. There are 13,000 registered installers, and last year more than 1 million orders were placed with a total value of £4.65 billion. But the problem for consumers is knowing who to trust and who not to trust when they place an order. And there are various other protection schemes, just like this one, the government-endorsed Trustmark Standard scheme. But then again, a recent BBC Rogue Traders investigation showed that even this one had its flaws.
People see this, but they think this.
This programme found one company registered on Trustmark that had been complained about. The scheme later vowed to change the way it operated. For the Ombudsman scheme, customers would have to use one of its approved operators to be covered, like this company in Nottingham, which says it's about time.
The industry's been looking for somebody like the dgcos. We need it. We need it. The client needs it.
The question is, how much? The well-established Glass and Glazing Federation says it's already doing a good job when it comes to settling disputes.
The consumers need protection, but we believe the GGF has been, for many, many years, providing the necessary protection they need.
For customers like Sean, it's too late. But for the millions more looking to buy double glazing or spend thousands on a conservatory, the regulators say now there should be at least some transparency. So not a very happy chap there, and there are lots of horror stories when you look into this. When I was researching this story, I spoke to one woman who, she didn't want to appear on camera, but told me that she and her husband had spent £11,000 on a conservatory and it started to leak, and when they got the people in to come to look at it, she was told that the whole thing had to be completely levelled. She was told that if the wind had blown too strongly, the entire structure would have fallen over. Now, I must stress that just because a company does not partake in this ombudsman scheme does not mean that they are a cowboy, does not mean that they will necessarily provide you with anything other than a perfect service. But this is just designed to give you an extra level of protection, really, an extra level of transparency, and not just for the consumer, but also for the installer as well, because there are lots of instances where you have what they call professional complainers, people who will find the slightest fault, even if it's not there, just to avoid getting out of paying. So hopefully the plan is both sides should eventually be happy with this.
All right, Phil, thanks very much indeed.
Thank
We've
you.
had actually messages from both sides about this. This is from Jean. She said, about time an ombudsman was appointed. We paid £27,000 for a conservatory. For a year it leaked every time it rained. We've endured 3.5 years of conservatory hell, and it is still ongoing.
A lot of you writing in to say similar things and welcoming the role of an ombudsman, asking, though, will it have enough teeth legally? And some people writing in to say, what about the cowboy customers? This from David this morning. Great move to have an ombudsman. Hopefully this will protect customers and suppliers and enable fair resolution of disputes, such as the customer changing their mind about doors on the day of delivery and refusing payments. Happened to a friend of mine. Thank you very much for all your thoughts.
You know who you are.